The public release of the Epstein files was a major turning point in the long-running investigation. It opened up access to a massive trove of material, including hundreds of thousands of photos, internal memos, and other records tied to the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. But an emergency request during Christmas week to redact thousands of records put staff and volunteers under extreme deadline pressure, and many were left scrambling with unclear guidelines and the wrong tools for a high-security job. Today, we'll break down what went wrong with redaction, why it matters, and what organizations should do to avoid the same mistakes when similar high-pressure releases happen. The Justice Department decided to withhold information in the files under executive branch and legal privileges to be extremely cautious and not expose any of the victims. Their goal was to release all documents while protecting victim privacy. However, there are competing obligations that need to be considered. One is the public's right to access information. On the other hand, there's legal protections to protect victims and private individuals. There's also ongoing investigative and judicial concerns. But redaction exists to balance those interests. When done correctly, it enables transparency without exposing sensitive information. When done poorly, it creates risk for agencies, individuals, and the public. So let's break down what went wrong with the redaction. The biggest issue that raised the most concern was how easy it was to undo the redactions. Many pages had only cosmetic redaction applied, but simple copy-paste commands allowed reporters, investigators, and regular people to bring sensitive information into another text editor and read all the details. This suggests that the DOJ used superficial black boxes with no permanent redaction of the data underneath. This happens when tools like Adobe Acrobat or Google Docs are used to highlight text black or draw black bars over text that does nothing to remove the underlying sensitive information. The lack of consistency in the redactions is also concerning and creates distrust from the general public. Some documents were lightly redacted, while others were completely blacked out. From page to page, categories of PII and other sensitive information were left redacted or unredacted, signifying that there was no set standard that can be easily referenced. From a compliance standpoint, inconsistency is a big problem. In a case like this, it raises questions about transparency and decision-making. Over-redaction can appear evasive. Under-redaction can expose protected information. Large releases like the Epstein files require consistency in its redactions to be credible. An easily forgotten yet crucial point: the metadata in the documents was not scrubbed. Metadata left in files can reveal information about the author, timestamps, edit history, embedded text layers, and machine-readable fields. If that data is not removed, sensitive information may still be accessible even when the document appears redacted. Many lawmakers and other sources express frustrations over the redactions, calling them unclear, confusing, or overly cautious. The DOJ maintains that they only redacted the legal requirement, but some redactions are given reasons for their discretion and many others are not, with no audit trails provided. The difference is confusing and leads to distrust when none can be afforded to be lost. In high-profile cases, the utmost care needs to be taken to ensure that the public is informed and all victims, investigators, and third parties are protected from being associated with a case like this. Even though the DOJ rushed to get these documents out, the effort drew criticism for not including all of the files like the bipartisan law outlined. Citizens can still expect more batches of files over the coming months, with new discovery of files apparently causing delays. The initial release of the Epstein files involved hundreds of thousands of records spanning multiple formats and sources, with millions more on the way. At that scale, a lack of automatic AI-powered tools and unclear guidelines only increase the likelihood of errors, missed redactions, and inconsistent review. Time pressure is going to only compound those risks. When redaction fails, the consequences are clear. Personally identifiable information is exposed and leaves victims and witnesses open to harassment, threats, and even violence. Agencies face legal and compliance risk, often resulting in thousands of dollars in fines. Public confidence in records releases diminishes. Instead of clarification, citizens are left in a haze of questions and confusion about what their government is actually doing with their data. Organizations subject to public record laws, FOIA, or court-ordered releases need redaction workflows that are defensible, repeatable, and verifiable. With a case this high profile, where social media, newsrooms, and public officials are actively dissecting the details, it is critical to stay transparent while still protecting privacy and keeping sensitive information secure. Following best practices on secure and accurate redaction with the right tools and processes becomes non-negotiable. It's important to checklist items or context of sensitive information to redact, earmark permanent removal of sensitive data, metadata sanitization across all file types, automatic tool with human review, and finally, detailed audit logs to keep track of what was applied and who applied the redactions. These are the principles behind CaseGuard's platform, and the reason it's trusted by organizations that prioritize filling record requests quick and without errors. The Epstein files release, like many other cases of data leaks due to inadequate tools, is a reminder of how important it is to invest in secure, compliance-ready tools. Redaction is not just drawing a black box over identifying information, but about knowing which private information to redact and having automatic tools help alleviate the tedious burden of doing it. CaseGuard Studio, an AI-driven automatic tool, is helping organizations release information responsibly while remaining compliant with redaction laws and protecting sensitive data. Because transparency only works when redaction is done correctly.